Good morning, Facebook friends. Wait till my car stops beeping. Happy Labor Day to you. I just read an email by Robert Kiyosaki, saying or stating that Labor Day is for the working class, right? But why not have a day to celebrate passive income? Because the goal is not to work for money all your life, but at some point have your money working harder for you than you work for it. I was listening to a motivational, educational video on YouTube last night. And Mr. Corp Smith, I'm reading his book now, The Conspiracy of Credit, stated that from the neck up is $1 million mindsets or ideas or concepts. But from the neck down is a job mentality, which means just over broke or barely making it. And so if you can teach people how to work more with the neck up than the neck down, they can at some point in their life become or at least come across the path of $1 million, whether that's in business credit, lines of credit, merchant credit, Home Depot, Lowe's, others people money or their own money or passive income ideas. So I want to jump right into the subject. I'm on my way to the gym. And so I hope my data does well. These are two very important lessons I've learned from my uncle and a very special friend guy in my life, right? That I want to share with you all. I believe, in Joshua, in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 1, it says to meditate, right, day and night. Meditate on his law day and night, and you will have good success. And let me tell you, the best meditation you can have is during times of tragedy or triumph in your life, the unexpected events, or at the time that you are repurposing your life, right? Repurposing your life. And so in conversation with my uncle and my friend guy, I'm going to put this all together. I believe in my heart this is going to be one of the most powerful videos I've ever done, just because of the knowledge that I've received. Now, you may not know this about me, but I am a PK. I'm a pastor's kid, right? Grew up in the church, had a lot of religious beliefs installed in me, but at the same time, I would read the Bible, and I was wondering why prosperity was so dominant in the Bible, but the church, or the Christian church in particular, seemed not to have the answer of how to reach it, right? After the jumping and the shouting and the clapping and the good music was done, people were still broke and struggling, or trying to get in the line to counsel with my parents about paying their bills. And I would read about prosperous women in the Bible, and will wonder why aren't the Lydias in the Bible being taught on or preached on, and why is the Proverbs 31st woman, the most you hear about her, she prepares breakfast, or she had maid servants rather that prepared food for her house, and how well she spoke of her husband. But we didn't talk about the many business entities that this lady had, or we didn't discuss the widow woman, how this widow woman went from her sons being enslaved to debt to now being a business owner, right? Open a family business through the prophet advice to her. And so these are things, and when Solomon prayed and asked God for riches and wealth, and these are things I always ponder in my mind. So my friend guy and my uncle have really given me some revelation on some things I've been seeking for years concerning money and prosperity. And this one video opened up the window to it all. It's Steve Harvey, and my uncle told me to watch this video. And if you YouTube the title, you can put Steve Harvey, we have not because we ask not, right? We have not because we ask not. And this was so simple, but yet profound. Because I went back in Proverbs today, the book of Proverbs, and I looked at the scripture that says to keep your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows the issues of life. And I really looked at that scripture, and we know keep means to guard. Sometimes that's why some people interpret that scripture to guard, but keep also means to observe your heart, right? Observe your heart with all diligence. What does diligence mean? My friend guy is actually security in a prison facility, and diligence means to guard as a prison guard would, right? To observe your heart. That diligent, because out of it flows the issues of life, which interprets to me that sometimes you have to be led by your heart on some things and not just your mind, right? And so back to Steve Harvey and the most powerful video I've ever watched on prosperity and God not being in your paycheck, and we have not because we're asking not. Steve Harvey talks about that we are many people are going to small churches, right? And we're not applying any of the scriptures in our lives. He said, if you can't do anything but take one scripture and apply it. And he took this one excerpt of a scripture. He talks about all the personal development books are just from the book of Proverbs, right? The law of attraction, gaining wealth, gaining prosperity. And he discusses that all of this is just from the Bible, from the book of Proverbs. And that a lot of people go to churches, and he emphasizes small churches, and they are not taught how to apply scripture into their lives, right? They're taught to jump over scriptures, shout over scripture, praise over scriptures, sing over scriptures, but not the application of scripture. And he goes on to say that faith, he breaks down the scripture, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, out of the book of Hebrews. And he breaks the scripture down so plain that he says, Albert Einstein have a quote that imagination is the most powerful thing of the world, in the world, your imagination. So our faith is the substance of hope, which is your imagination. And he goes on to say, do not tell your big dreams to small-minded people. Stop telling your big dreams to small-minded people. Meaning that once God gives you a creative idea, once your imagination starts to expound, that's why in the book of Deuteronomy, God tells us he gives us the power to get wealth. What power is he's referring to? Our inner gifts, our inner being. That's why when I teach children, and I ask them at a young age, at 12 years old, what do you want to be in life? What do you know, or if they just come tell me their dreams and aspirations, I don't ever shoot down their imagination, right? Because that's the faith, that's the substance, that's the hope that they need to accomplish these goals in life. And so I'm very back into Proverbs chapter 4 of guarding your heart. I'm very particular now of who I allow in my inner circle, because once I come to approach a person or a friend with a creative idea, a concept, if they shoot that idea down from the very beginning in its early stages of its imaginary stages, then I won't communicate to that person anymore. I will, if they are a very negative person, for every problem they have an answer, I will cut that person off of my life and communications, because my imagination is the substance of things hoped for. It's the faith that God has instilled and given into me. And so I need people in my circle, in my inner circle, that feeds into my imagination. Now, not that they won't provide cautionary things or advice, but they say, hey, that's a good idea. But maybe you need to look at this also when making that move. But if they're just a negative person that cuts off my creative flow, thank you so much for the digital love, then I will cut that person out of my circle, right? I would cut that person out. And it doesn't take me long now to recognize that, right? If we go somewhere, an environment, and you are selfish, or you're thinking about yourself, or we go out to eat and, you tell me, well, I don't like this, or I will cut you off. Limits my communication with you, because I truly believe in being around people who allow you to be creative and to express yourself and to be a better you. And so that's the power of having an imaginary mind and keeping people around you. I'm not talking about yes people that say yes to everything you do, but people that will support you and provide informative information that you may need to see at the same time. You don't want somebody clapping for you to enter into a danger zone without them giving you some feedback and advice of, what you're entering into. But you do want them to support your creative thoughts and mindsets, because now you can go back to the drawing table and have build up on that idea with their information and make it even better. So back to, we have not because we ask not, right? Steve Harvey went on to say that a lot of people ask God for things within the confinement of their paycheck or their job or the money or their income that they have. He said, why not ask God for bigger things, right? If you're asking God to pay your rent, why not ask God to give you a mortgage? Right? If you're asking God, Lord, help me get my car fixed, or, Lord, give me some gas money to get to work, or Lord, touch this car to make sure I get to work today. Why not ask God for a bigger car, right? Why not ask Him for a better car? We simply don't do the first thing, which means we simply do not ask. Because we ask God within the limitations of things that's within our mindset and our imagination. But you have to ask God things that are outside of your mind, right? That's outside of your limitations. I'm trying to think of the scriptures in Ephesians. Now unto Him, right, that's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think, according to the power of the imagination that is within us. And so my uncle and my friend guy have been very integral in my life, very supportive, very positive, teaching me to start. I woke up this morning and I asked God for things that I never asked Him before in prayer. I petitioned Him. Lord, give me X amount of credit repair, people I can improve their credit for this week. Give me the limitations outside of my resources. Allow my business to bring in this X amount of dollars of my monthly income that I'm currently earning on my check. And my friend also taught me this lesson. Two black women in particular, and Steve Harvey tied this into his video as well. If you have a man, and Steve Harvey talked about the story of when he first entered into comedy and he found his purpose, and his first paycheck was $50, and he went to work the next day and turned in his letter of resignation because it wasn't about the money, right? It was about him finding his purpose. And he knew to the exact T, his first year, how much he made in comedy and business. Good morning, as an entrepreneur, Miss Hawkins. He knew the second year of exactly what he had in business as an entrepreneur, and how he would send his wife and his twins back the little money that he was making and to support. So, ladies, if you have a man that has a vision, a business vision, and they're supporting for your kids and they're sending back the finances, support him as long as he's a man of character and trust. Good morning, Miss Bacon. He's a person of character and trust, and he's put his effort in building a future for your kids. And Steve Harvey right now, he made $4,000, $3,000 those first 3 years, but his twins, his children now are in a position where they never have to lack financially another day in their lives, right? Support a man with that vision, right? I can tell you right now, in my marriage with my ex, I would always ask him, what do you see? What is your vision? Thank you for the digital love. What do you want out of life? Let's build a business. I never had answers. So if you have a man that has a vision, that, hey, Nick, I haven't saw you in a long time, that's trying to do something outside of an employee mindset into an entrepreneur mindset, and they're trustworthy and they have character, in the meanwhile, support that man. Be the person you need to be for your children, and support his vision, right? I heard Dr. Miles Monroe, one of my favorite philosophers, once say that once you submission under a man, you can't have different visions. If you're a woman, then it becomes division, because it's separated, it's divided. And so support that man's vision and keep the home and the children at peace. If he's sending you money financially and you invest that time, and he's trying to build the family on another financial foundation and financial future. And so back to Steve Harvey. How many times have we asked God? How many times have you just, if you make $50,000 a year, and that's on gross, because you're probably netting $40,000 or $35,000, especially if you have insurance and health coming out of it. Do you just ask God for a car in accordance to, and this is what Steve Harvey is saying, I'm quoting him, a Lexus according to your paycheck, right? Or you just asking him, Lord, give me this according to your paycheck? Good morning, Mrs. Stanley. How many times do you just ask God, Lord, give me the strength and strategy to build my business? Not within your own mind, not within your own power. Lord, send people into my inner circle. And the biggest thing I got out of that was Steve Harvey told him, stop going to these small churches, right? You're going to these small churches that's not teaching you these concepts, and you're staying in bondage. Then he said this, and this is what my uncle and my friend guy also emphasized, that a lot of people go to church because they fear God, but they don't believe in him. You fear him. What if there is an actual place called hell? Right? You want to know that you're doing what you're supposed to do religiously, just in case it's a place there and you don't want to go. Or you feel like, hey, if I go to church, 2 or 3 times a week, this would make me a better Christian. But if you believed in God, then you would ask him according to his will. And what is God's will? Is his word. You would ask him to give you what his word said. God, you said in your words that you will supply all of my needs, not some of them, according to your riches and glory. And then I had to have a different concept about tithing. Whether you believe in it or not, whether you think you're paying a pastor's salary or not, if you're a part of a church that's doing kingdom work, God says he wants you to give 10% as worship and appreciation to him, so that church can support kingdom ministry, right? Kingdom ministry. And tithing connects you to the grace and favor of God. It's something Steve Harvey elaborated on too. I ask, He said, I asked God for 6 acres of land and God gave me more. He said, I started asking God. I went to this event where there was atheists. And I'm like, Lord, I know these atheists won't ask you for anything. So, Lord, give me their 6 acres as well. And he goes on to say how he have over 200 acres of land now, because when he was in the starting process of comedy, he would go fish on people's lakes and ponds for food. He would have this iron skillet with charcoal, and he would catch the fish and eat. And a lot of people would make him throw back the fish because they thought he was just doing for recreational fishing. They didn't know that was his survival method to eat, right? While he was pursuing his purpose in life. And he said after that experience, he prayed and asked God, give me land, give me acreage. I want all the land so I don't have to worry, because of that sentimental story where he was sneaking on people's land and fishing to eat. And so he said, when he said, Lord, I want land of my own. And now he used those acres of land where he have a retreat for boys and single mothers to help them become men every year, right? And so we have not because we ask not. We'll ask our friends for advice. We'll ask our family for advice. And then we get upset when their mind is too small for our big ideas and they're shooting down our creativity, imagination. But how much time do we take to ask God? And stop limiting God to your paycheck. Stop limiting God to your paycheck. And let me tell you something. If you want to be wealthy and prosperous or rich every day, this is not for everybody. Everybody don't have that mindset. But if you do, you are going to have a business idea in your portfolio to get that done. Now, my second part, and I'm signing off because I'm getting ready to go to the gym. I haven't been in days, haven't been feeling well, but I'm feeling better, and I thank God for that. Credit repair. Credit repair is the key to prosperity, or credit restoration is the key to prosperity and riches and wealth as well, right? No rich or wealthy person has bad credit, point blank, because they understand the leverage of using their credit to use other people's money to make more money and not using their own money. And so if you think credit repair is a fair game and that the 3 bureaus are just going to remove your negative information, right? Thank you so much, Mr. Curry. If you think it's just going to be an easy process and you can handwrite a letter in yourself and they're going to remove your negative information without any work, knowing the credit secret, there are credit secrets. I tell people all the time. Sometimes people make a statement to me where I don't want to file for identity theft. What do you think happened when they sell your information to collection agencies? That's identity theft. They've just given your information, your name, your address, your account number to a third party. Do you understand the Fair Credit Reporting Act law about third party entities? Thank you so much for the digital love. Thank you so much. Do you understand that they do not supposed to provide your information to third parties? You are the person I enter into agreement with. That's why if you really understood the Fair Credit Reporting Act law of validation and verification, that a bureau cannot write you back saying that this has been verified or validated by a third party, you must tell me who you spoke to, what time you spoke to this person at the original business, and what original contract do you have on file for this consumer. Third party information that's been shared about you, or they're saying it's been validated and verified to you, is illegal. And you have the right to dispute everything on that's negative and inaccurate on your credit report. But this is what happened. People don't understand it, and they don't understand how to dispute it, and they don't understand the law. If you were to look up Black Law's Dictionary of Charge-Offs, for example, then you will understand once that original creditor has sold your debt or written your debt off and no longer see your debt as an asset, then it is no longer your debt, right? And it doesn't supposed to be reported because it's not with the original contract. And so people are saying, well, I don't want to do this with my credit report repair. I don't want to. You know what? This is a grit, grind game where you have to know how to talk to the credit bureaus, because it's not easy. These people are making billions of dollars. It's big money in this. They're making money off of selling your FICO score to predatory lenders. And do you think they want your credit report to be to have any derogatory remarks, or to have a high credit score where you can get things at lower interest rate so you won't be in financial bondage and cash flow bondage? Do you think the bureaus are just going to let that happen? You got to learn how to play this game. I'm a coach. You got to learn to play the game. I watched WNBA, the Sparks, play Seattle, Washington yesterday evening. Thank you, Miss Shaw. And Brittany Griner was throwing elbows, and Taurasi, which is, I'm like, oh my God, it's not ladylike, but hey, they got to win, baby. And when people are throwing elbows and getting dirty with you about things that they're not doing legally on your credit report, you got to do what you got to do to go back and attack them. It's a grimy game because it's big money and big business, and they don't play fair. And you need to know how to play the game, right? So your financial future can be better. Hey, I'm signing off. If this video was any help to you, hit the like button and then do a second thing on Facebook and hit share. Have a great Labor Day. I have a special going on today. You can look on my page. If you need help with bankruptcy, collections, charge-offs, just let me know. And Miss Bless, I will look at your credit report. I just haven't really been feeling well. When I'm not feeling well, my mind has to be in a certain place. It's you and one other person. I have to give you some feedback on your credit check total report, but I promise you I will do that this evening. I'm headed to the gym and I got to get a workout for my physical body, but I will get back to you. I haven't forgot about you. So just give me 2 or 3 hours. And thank you so much. I appreciate you being patient. And I'm signing off. Make sure you hit like if you're on YouTube, and hit the subscribe button so whenever I upload a video. Miss Coach Deloach.